Hello and welcome back. So far in this video series we've really covered the gambit. We've talked about what the pendulum cycle theory is. We've talked about the thinking behind it. I've talked about strategies that you can use to make money with it. And I've given a financial plan to go from $1,000 to financial independence in 6 years or less. So the 2015 NFL season is almost upon us. So I wanted to take the time with this video to show you the tools that I plan in order to go out and get the 40% that I'm looking to get per season. And so let's take a look up here on the whiteboard. These are the main tools that I am looking to use. And I'm going to start with 3-game regression theory. This is the main engine that I'm going to use to chase after the 40%. And what that is, to recap, is I'm waiting for a 3-game streak to start, either winning or losing, and then I will fade or, bet the opposite of what's going on. So, for example, if the Jacksonville Jaguars are, won 3 games against the spread, then I'm looking to use a 4-tier Grand Martingale system to fade them. So I expect them to go back to losing against the spread. Now, shock theory regression is a new idea that I had for this year, and it's basically very similar to regression theory. The only difference is that instead of waiting for 3 games, I'm looking for a shocking result against the spread, say 25 points off. If the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the spread by 25 points, well, I'm looking for them to lose within the next four games. Now, as I've studied this, 4 tiers might not be deep enough, so I may just sit back and paper trade this one this year. But I'm definitely looking at it in order to implement it amongst the rest of the tools that I have. Now, 10-point teasers. 10-point teasers is the first strategy that I came out using with pendulum cycle theory, and in 2012 it did awesome. I pulled in over 100% with it. And then 2013, a lot of changes happened in the NFL. Some of the teams that were bad got good, and the good teams weren't as dominant. And the original system that I was using to sniff out these 10-point teasers just wasn't going to work because the power rankings that I was using, it required to have 8 elite teams and then 8 really bad teams. And there just wasn't enough teams to fill up those lists and make this work the way I was doing it in the past. Well, shock theory regression really helped me out with the 10-point teasers, because what I was finding is with these shocking results against the point spread, I was able to take those teams and fade them, collect them and put them inside of a 10-point teaser, and the results were amazing. So I'm looking to be using this one again. If it works well enough, then it might be the main engine that I use in place of 3-game regression. We're going to have to wait and see how those 2 theories work out this season. So the top 3 here is the main engine that I'm looking to use in order to hit 40%. The bottom are extras that I'm looking to put that money into high gear. If there's an opportunity for me to make a big gain, these are the strategies that I'm going to use in order to do that. So the next one on the list, we have the semi-arbitrage. We had a video that I talked about, and I showed you the strategy for the MLB. In the NFL, it's a little bit different. Basically, what I'm looking for is an underdog of 15 points or more. And the theory behind this is that in order for an underdog to cover a point spread of 15 or more, they're facing a juggernaut who's expected to plaster them against the wall. The only way they're going to survive that is if their defense steps up and keeps the score down so that they can stay within the game. So the idea behind this is I'm going to parlay the underdog with the under of the total. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that in an arbitrage calculator and balance that out with the over. And this covers 3 of 4 possible scenarios. If the game goes over and the favorite wins, you win. If the game goes over and the underdog covers, you win. And if the game goes under, the underdog has to cover in order to win that bet. If the favorite covers and the total is under, you lose. Now, that's a 75% chance of winning statistically right out of the gates. However, in my back tests of this, I'm looking at it and it's hitting like the high 80s, possibly even 90%. The results have been incredible. So if I see one of these develop, and we usually see at least 3 or 4 of these things a year, I'm going to be looking to load up on that thing and try to boost my profits big time with this. So moving on from the semi-arbitrage, the storyline fix, I jumped on one of these last year. Turned out that my storyline wasn't correct, and I did really well, and then it fell apart in the playoffs. I walked away smiling though. I had a 70% return on investment in the NFL last year instead of the target of 40%. So I really can't complain about that. However, if I can find one of these things and snowball it the way that I did last year, then I will be looking to do that. However, I don't want to force the situation. The target of 40% is enough for me to reach my goals. I don't need 6, 7, 800% gains inside of a season in order to feel like I've been a success. If it happens, great. If the opportunity presents itself, I will be there to jump on it, but I'm not going to force it, because that's the way you're going to end up getting burned. So, storyline fix, if it happens, great. If not, well, we'll just grind it out and get the 40% that I'm after. Now, the bottom one, touting services, I seriously considered starting this year. In one of my previous videos, I talked about how I was tracking a company called Precision Picks, and that I felt that this is one of the few touting services that could actually be trusted. The problem is that they're very expensive. I tracked one of the handicappers on there. His name is Richard Hartline. He charges $20 per pick, and if I was to follow him for the NFL and college football, it would have cost me a little bit over $4,000 last year to follow his picks, and he hit 57%. Well, if you get $5,000 or less, then you don't have enough money to afford those picks. It's not going to be profitable once you subtract the $4,000 that you paid in order to get his picks. However, at $11,500, it would be profitable, but the margin for error in my mind is not large enough yet. I'm thinking that I'm probably going to implement this with $20,000, because what happens is if he has a rough season, say he hits 53%, well, 53% is still over 52.4, but it's not enough to generate a very big profit, and I'm paying $4,000 for these picks, so that's going to turn out to be a loss, not a gain, even though he was successful. So in order to give me a cushion to prevent this from turning into a catastrophic loss, I'm thinking that $20,000 is probably a good target, before starting to implement somebody that's really expensive like this. And it's important in my mind to tell the difference between somebody who's expensive and somebody who is not worth it. Somebody who produces the results consistently and is expensive is completely worth it in my mind. And it's just a matter of, can you afford it at that point? And in my point of view, basically, if you've got $20,000 behind you, you can start to try and use these picks and see if you can produce the results. And the main thinking behind that is to reduce the amount of risk that I'm subjecting my money to. These chase systems are very, very risky. I cannot stress that enough. Last year, I almost got buried by the New Orleans Saints, and the only reason I was successful is that I bought in early in the week, because I already knew that I was going to be playing them. and during the week the spread changed, and had I got on them, you know, Sunday before the game started, I would have lost that game. I basically squeaked out of that one by a hair, and I was on the last tier of the chase system, so that would have completely wiped me out. So chase system, very, very risky. Touting services are less risky if they can produce the results. Most of them cannot. So you have to balance that out in your mind. Do your own research and track these guys to make sure that they're delivering what they say they can. Most of them won't even give you a history. Precision picks, they give you a very large history. They're very open about what their picks are. You know, they actually publish them within a half hour, you know, after the game starts. So, you know, to me, they're very transparent, and you can track what they're doing. So I think that these guys are a gold mine. I am definitely planning on trying them out, you know, in the near future. So that being said, these are the 6 main tools in my arsenal that I plan on going out and, you know, hitting the NFL with. And to make these videos interesting, what I'm planning on doing this year is I'm going to take somebody who's never bet on sports before, and I'm going to give them a small bankroll, you know, start them out with $300, and see if we can go out and hit the 40% here. Because if we can hit the 40% in this, and then, you know, start to roll it over, you can start to see that this idea is really possible. You know, 274% a year in any other arena sounds ridiculous. But if you can hit 40% in the NFL, 40% in the NBA, 40% in the MLB, and compound that over and over again, you're going to get that 274%. You do that year after year, then the tiniest amount of money is going to turn into something really substantial. So if you like this information, be sure and hit the like button, leave a comment or a question, and if you're seeing this anywhere else than my newsletter, be sure and join up so that I can inform you when these new videos come out. Alright, thanks a lot, and we'll see you next time.